as well as up into Putnam County, now through Butts County, as well as portions of Upson County. And we got a new severe thunderstorm warning for southern Monroe County, Bibb County, as well as Crawford County. These storms will be rolling south. And again, look at all that lightning these storms are producing. And the main concern is going to continue to be those damaging wind gusts with these storms as they continue to push off towards the south. So again, it's going to be a rough next couple of hours across middle Georgia. Anywhere within this line, we could be talking about winds of 60 miles per hour. This line has been producing damage, especially back towards Interstate 20, Carroll and Douglas County, numerous tree and power lines down across those counties, and these storms will continue to march off towards the south. So again, out ahead of this line, we're going to be watching and waiting, and that's what we're going to be dealing with over the next couple of hours. We'll go to our Wilson Bryant Heating and Air Skycast Network. This is looking north from Mercer University. The sky turning dark, but again, it is still 92 degrees here in Macon at Mercer University. That's a lot of heat, and that's a lot of humidity, and that is fuel for these showers and storms. So they're not going to be weakening as they make their way into middle Georgia, and that's why we're continuing to see those severe thunderstorm warnings issued. Severe thunderstorm watch, it includes most of middle Georgia, but notice they've already removed Atlanta and areas off towards the north out of that severe thunderstorm watch. So as soon as that line pushes through, the severe weather thunderstorm watch will be over. But again, Macon, Bibb County, down into Houston County, stretching over into Washington County, stretching down far south as Sly County, as well as Macon County. That's the severe thunderstorm watch. And then again, this will go till 9 p.m. I think it'll be over with by then. And just because you don't have warnings down towards Dodge County as well as Lawrence County, we'll likely see that extended as we head through the next couple of hours down towards the south. Again, as this line of strong to severe storms continues marching off towards the south and east. And again, the winds are the main concern. There are some reports of hail over quarter size. That is severe hail. And again, you see tremendous amounts of lightning with some of these stronger storms. That's what we're all concerned with. So anywhere along this line, you have the potential for those damaging wind gusts, tremendous amounts of rainfall, frequent lightning, and again, winds 60, perhaps as high as 70 miles per hour. We've had several rounds of these this summer. That could produce tree and power issues. So make plans that you could lose power over the next couple of hours as this line of storms continues to push off towards the south and east. Again, we got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings for Baldwin, Hancock, Putnam, Washington County. That does include Jones County. That goes until 7 p.m. And then we got the new warnings off towards the south and west. Upson County, portions of Lamar County and northern Monroe County, and Butts County. That goes until 6:45. The new warning for southern Monroe County, as well as Crawford County and Bibb County, which is the city of Macon, that goes until 7:15. So again, these storms are working their way through the area, rapidly approaching Forsyth as we speak. So not a great time to be along Interstate 75 or even Interstate 475 as we're watching these storms. Again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett. Meteorologist Ryan Mirando is in the house with me as well as we continue to track these storms off towards the south and east. And again, it's just going to be one of those evenings watching these storms very carefully. Strongest storms really right now look to be right over Forsyth. You see that intense lightning, the reds, even those white shades. That's intense rainfall, maybe a little bit of hail mixing in with these storms, but also these will be rolling in towards Bolingbrook, down towards Roberta, Lizella, Macon as well. Gray, very heavy rainfall over in Jones County as we speak. And again, some of the more intense storms continue to be across southern Jones County heading down, or excuse me, southern Jasper County dropping into Jones County. You got storms now south of Eatonton, and again, that's heading down into Baldwin County. So Milledgeville heads up, starting to rain in Milledgeville, but again, the worst of the activity just now coming across the county line, and then you work into Hancock County where Sparta is. That'll be heading down into northern Washington County, down towards Sandersville. So again, we fully expect these watches or these warnings to continue to be extended off towards the south and east. And again, Mirando, I will let you tell me what that warning officially is.
Yeah, they just issued an extra warning. I think it's still coming in off of this. I can pull it up right here, but they just issued a new warning. I'm sure it's for extending portions of this line. So this is for a severe thunderstorm warning That's out for portions of Taylor County until 7:30. There were severe thunderstorms that were located along a line stretching from Big Laser Creek, WMA, to Riverview, moving southeast at 25 miles per hour. This is for the radar indicating 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and expecting damage to roofs, siding, trees, could even down some power lines as well. That's the latest update. That's with the National Weather Service. But this is a big line that's moving through right now. So really, you do want to take these seriously. If you have anyone that's outside right now that's maybe living south and east of Forsyth, the kids are outside, maybe you want to bring them inside for the next few hours as these severe thunderstorms are moving on through. Any one of these storms really do be packing a strong wind gust that could potentially down those power lines or the trees. There could be some hail also that's being dropped from some of these storms. So you really do want to take them seriously over the next few hours as these continue to push through. That could cause some pretty strong damage. There's a lot of lightning also with it, specifically on that one cluster of storms that's just north of Gray and in southern portions of Jasper County. There's a really heavy lightning core there. That's really a sign that that's one of the stronger kind of areas in this line of thunderstorms. Even right now over Forsyth, there's that line that stretches through Monroe County, down through Lamar and into Upson County that has frequent lightning with it as well. So these storms really packing a punch with some heavy downpours. Also going into tonight, the atmosphere is just so moisture loaded. This means that with these storms firing through, they could drop a lot of rain in a short amount of time, and that could cause some localized flash flooding. So if you have to go out anywhere, even after the storms are rolling through, you never want to drive through any flooded roads. This is showing the excessive rainfall outlook. One is for areas like Hawkinsville and southwards in that green, but two is for most of middle Georgia. That means we could see quite a few areas that have some ponding on the roads or anywhere. So you definitely do not want to drive. If you see any flooding on the roads, it doesn't take a lot of water to kind of lose traction with your car, find an alternative route. So that's going to be kind of an issue with also these storms rolling through, even for the next few hours. This line of thunderstorms isn't the only one that's pushing through. It'll be unsettled at times through the overnight hours tonight and into tomorrow. So if it rains heavily over the same areas for the next 24 hours or so, if you get multiple rounds of rain, that could really not, the ground is not going to be able to hold that much water with some of these heavy downpours that's coming through. That could cause some even localized flooding in any kind of grassy areas, or especially on the roads as well. You never really want to drive through those flooded roads, but really that risk right now is for the severe storms that's producing those frequent lightning and the damaging winds as well. Ryan, I will toss it back over to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan Mirando. And again, we're on social media, so if you're seeing anything at your house, let us know. You can always use the WGXA News and Weather apps to send us pictures through Chime In if you see any damage, but make sure it's safe, of course, and then we'll get those. But again, just looking at social media, we're reading the comments, so if you're seeing anything, let us know, me and meteorologist Ryan Miranda. But we're going to stick with this. Usually we take little breaks, but because this is working right into our area and does have a history of producing some damage back towards the west, especially tree and power issues, we're going to stick with this. And again, as Miranda was saying, the strongest storms look to be over Monroe County, now pushing into northern Jones County and northern Baldwin County. This lightning really shows you where the most intense thunderstorms are, and that's what we're seeing. So we'll go a little bit closer in, and again, just showing you that from Montgomery, Alabama to Columbus to Macon, all the way towards Augusta, we got this line of strong to severe storms as it's going to be pushing down towards the south. Again, we'll look at our Wilson and Bryant Heating and Air Skycast Network. That sky looking very ominous off towards the north. Now, we are looking north from Mercer University into these storms that are approaching the city of Macon. Again, the wind is out of the south at 7 miles per hour, but the temperature remains in the lower 90s. That is what Ryan Miranda was just talking about. Lots of heat, lots of humidity, that's instability, and that is what's fueling these storms. And again, we had a severe thunderstorm watch issued earlier this afternoon across much of middle Georgia. This will likely be extended off towards the south with a new watch or an extension of this current watch over the next few hours. Again, it goes until 9 p.m. It's really along that line and towards the south is where the main concern is going to be with these storms. And again, here comes that line. It is marching off towards the south, moving at about 45 or 50 miles per hour. And again, all these yellow or orange shaded polygons you see, those are severe thunderstorm warnings, and that means these storms could be producing winds of 60 miles per hour, at least 60 miles per hour, large hail at least quarter size, and thankfully we've only had one tornado warning, but that was in northeast Georgia. We're not expecting any tornadoes with these storms, but again, these storms are packing a punch with that very heavy rainfall and very gusty winds this evening. And again, if a tree falls on your car or on your house, it's a bad night for you. So hopefully we don't have any issues. But here we go. We're over in the Talbot County right now. We're going to be working over towards Upson County. That's where we're seeing some very heavy rainfall just south of Thomaston. But you see that white showing up. That's likely showing you some large hail within the storm as it drops off towards the south. And in a minute, we'll show you maybe some of the hail cores on some of the reflectivity. And again, here you go, up into Monroe County, Juliet to just south of Forsyth. This is where the most intense thunderstorm is. Bolingbrook, if you're in North Macon right now, especially along Bass Road where the Publix is, and then over towards the mall, be ready. This storm and line of heavy rainfall, gusty winds is making its way your direction. And again, you see the severe thunderstorm warning for Crawford County as well as Bibb County on road right now, but again, that's not the severe part. This severe part will be working its way into the county here very shortly along Interstate 75. You get up into Jones County, gray, very heavy rainfall just now making its way into your location. And again, this is all dropping towards the south and east. So Gordon, Ivy, Milledgeville, this is heading your direction, as well as McIntyre and Irvington. And this is just going to be one of those events that every time it gets closer to the county line, we're going to see new warnings issued. So go ahead and plan that if you don't have a warning right now and you're south of this line of storms, you're going to see these storms. That does include Warner Robins, Houston County, Perry, Bonaire, Cochran, down towards McRae eventually. It's quiet and calm across our southern communities, but again, the main area of concern continues to be this line of strong storms that's rapidly pushing off towards the south and east. Again, I'll put it into motion. Just watching at some of these stronger cells, especially that one in northern Jones County. That has the most amount of lightning. A lot of lightning output shows us that that's one of the stronger thunderstorms. So along with the wind, there's probably the hail threat. And again, big heat, we always say, means big storms. And these storms are packing a punch, producing a lot of lightning and that very heavy rainfall. So we're going to continue to watch this over the next few minutes. I'll just go ahead and say Sandersville down to Wrightsville, Dublin, eventually over into Wilkinson County, Twiggs County. You're going to get a warning. Houston County, Peach County, Macon County, you're going to get a warning at some point as this line of storms continues to march off towards the south and east. And again, the main issue with this is those damaging winds. We do have a lot of reports up around the Atlanta area of tree and power issues, so that's why we're just going to stick with this, because this does have a history of producing some of those very strong storms. And again, this could be round one of what could be multiple rounds of rain and storms. I'm just going to show you one model output. You got the storms that are coming through right now. They'll push south of the area by 9 or 10 o'clock. Looks like we'll get a break in the activity, but some of the model data suggesting that we're going to see additional rain and storms. Now, I don't know if these will be severe, but it could be a wet and stormy night across portions of middle Georgia. And notice maybe tomorrow morning it starts off wet and stormy, and a lot of the models do push the severe weather threat over into Alabama and down into South Georgia tomorrow. Maybe not quite as active across middle portions of Georgia. But again, rain and storms are in the forecast. Certainly a welcome sight. It helps keep those heat levels down. But again, the only problem is the heat levels actually make these storms more intense. So again, we're continuing to watch this line of storms pushing off towards the south and east. And again, we are expecting more warnings to be issued. Up next will probably southern Jones County. You get over into Wilkinson County, the rest of Washington County, Twiggs County, Peach, as well as Houston County. So that's what we're dealing with right now. I know, Miranda, you are watching the chat over there for us. Any damage reports you're seeing or anything jumping out to you as we continue to watch this line of severe storms pushing off towards the south?
Yeah, there hasn't been anything too crazy in the chat right now. No new updates with the exact warnings for the mid-state. There have been a few storm reports that have come in from some of the AMS people from some of the people in Lamar County, Upson County, they're saying Harrell Road was called for a power line down. There were several trees down in Lamar County. One tree fell on a power line near Collier Road, causing a fire, and a large tree down on a home in Lamar County as well. These are from some of the people that are in these counties that are in the chat reporting some of these things. There was another power line that was down near Old Alabama Road in Upson County as well. So some people are already starting to put in some of the reports that could be happening from these strong winds that are coming out of some of these severe thunderstorms. Winds gusting up to about 60 miles per hour can do this kind of damage. It can down those trees, down the power lines that could cause even some fires to be sparked. So really definitely still want to take these warnings seriously, as the next few hours likely will have these severe storms barreling through farther to the south and east right now. So this is some of the hail cores right now. Oh, we're back now to some of the Doppler winds. So this is the wind structure of some of the storms. The green means moving towards the radar site and the red's moving away. Notice, especially in southern Monroe County, we got that bright green. So that's really an indication that the winds are incredibly strong with these storms rolling through, specifically in that area near Culloden, Bolingbroke, really some high powerful winds that could easily down those power lines and trees. So when you have a warning issued under you, you really want to get away from the windows so that if anything, if there's a strong gust of wind that pushes over near your house, the windows are usually the first to go. So there, the radar is indicating upwards of 56 miles per hour with right east of Culloden towards Musella. This will be pushing towards Roberta, Lizella into Macon-Bibb County. There's 47 miles per hour. So the storm is definitely packing some gusty, heavy, damaging winds. And that could definitely cause a few of those power outages or those down trees with what's happening with all these storms moving through.
Yeah, and a lot of times it doesn't even have to be severe winds to knock down a tree, but 58 mile per hour winds, that is severe winds by definition. What makes a severe thunderstorm? Winds of 58 miles per hour or greater, inch-size hail, which is the size of a quarter, or storms producing a tornado. And again, there's no tornado warnings with this, and the tornado threat very, very low. You just don't get that a lot of times in the summertime in middle Georgia and really across the southeast. But again, the main issue is going to continue to be the tremendous amounts of lightning with these storms rolling into middle Georgia, along with that damaging wind gusts. And again, as Miranda was saying, getting reports of tree and power issues in Lamar County, wind gusts up to 50 to 60 miles per hour, and that by definition is severe. So what we'll do is we'll move in a little closer, especially as we get into northern Bibb County, over towards Lake Tobosoke, Lake Wildwood, Lizella. Storms are heading your direction as you head over into portions of Bibb County. There's the shops at River Crossing, Bass Road. This is going to be Bass Road that drops down and ties into Zebulon Road as it heads over towards 475. Bass Road, again, just south of the Monroe County line. That's where likely some of these strongest winds are. And I know Jeff Cox, our news director, lives in that area, so I'm sure he'll give us an update with what he's seeing at his home. And then again, over towards Gray, very heavy rainfall, these winds pushing into the area. So downtown Macon, we are quiet and calm right now. And Ryan, I'll let you tell us about that new severe thunderstorm warning.
Yes, the National Weather Service just issued kind of an addition for some of the latest severe thunderstorm warning. Is now in portions of Baldwin County, in Johnson County, Jones County, Lawrence County, Twiggs, Washington, and portions of Wilkinson County. You are now under a severe thunderstorm warning that could be producing near quarter-sized hail, probably about marble-sized hail potentially, or even damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, and that is in effect until 7:45. So that's a little over 45 minutes from now, with the potential for those storms to be producing those gusty, damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour that could down those trees, could impact some of the damage on roofs, siding, but also this is moving to the southeast at 40 miles per hour. Ryan, if you could, I was about to say, could you put up the camera? Because it was a pretty cool shot, actually, with it getting that dark.
And there you go. You see some flashing of lightning as it approaches. Again, this is looking north from Mercer University as those storms are just now pushing into northern Bibb County up near Bass Road where the storms are currently. And again, I will show you the radar real quick. And again, you're starting to get into the real population core across middle Georgia. So again, we're going to stick with these. But southern southern Upson County, stretching over into northern Crawford County, New Marzella, Roberta. You're going to be dealing with these storms. Lizella, Macon, and again, it's approaching probably Zebulon Road is where these storms are right now, near the Walmart, the Lowe's, the Kroger, the movie theater on Zebulon Road. Then you work up towards northern Bibb County, right here. Then again, this is Bass Road, and then you get the shops at the Riverside. And so that's what we're going to be watching. Again, there's shops at River Crossing. You got that severe thunderstorm warning. I know a lot of people probably doing some school shopping. I know a lot of schools are back in session, but still a few schools start back tomorrow. So again, Bass Road down to, say, Publix, down towards Lake Wildwood, Lake Toby, and then Middle Georgia State. That's where we're going to be seeing these storms. And again, downtown Macon, that's where we are located. We're right here on MLK Boulevard. That storm's going to be approaching right along 41, coming down Riverside Drive, and then right along 16. So rain going to start falling here in Macon real quick. And again, we slide over towards Gray, Milledgeville. You see tremendous amounts of lightning, very heavy rainfall for Jones as well as Baldwin County. And then as you head over towards portions of Washington and Hancock County, again, Sandersville up towards Worthen, over towards Linton, Lake Sinclair, no one needs to be out on the lake right now, but luckily those storms are starting to push south of there. And again, here is that new warning. Again, storms are on their way into Wilkinson County as well as Twiggs County, northern Lawrence County, you get over into Johnson County, and southern, again, Washington County. These are where these storms are going to be heading next. Back towards Macon as well as Rutland down into Lizella as we speak. That's where we're dealing with. And again, Bolingbroke, you see tremendous amounts of heavy rainfall, lightning with these storms as they continue to track off towards the south. And again, you get up towards Lake Juliet near the power plant, Juliet, the cafe, and then you get over towards Round Oak. That gets you into Jones County, right around Gray. But it looks like right around Lake Juliet and along US 23, that's where some of the most intense lightning is. And a lot of times lightning tells us that's where the most intense thunderstorm is. So just because you may not see storms in your area right now doesn't mean you're not going to get some. Houston County, Warner Robins, Perry, all this is going to be dropping your direction as well as far as it's heading off towards the south. So Montezuma, America, Cordell, this is going to be heading your way. Cochran, Eastman, Dublin, over towards, say, Valdelia. You're going to be dealing with this as well. Now, as we look back towards the north, just to give you an idea, Atlanta, the rain and storms are already over. So from Interstate 20 towards the south, this is where we're dealing with this complex of rain and storms. And again, that's the radar location at Peachtree City. We have another radar location out in Twiggs County, and that's due to Warner Robins, the Air Force Base. So that's the radar we're really looking at as these storms begin to make their way into the city of Macon. Again, live look, there's very ominous sky over Mercer University. Ryan, I'm going to ask you, get our camera downtown looking off towards the north in case it's not, and we'll switch over to that too just to see what we can see. But again, we were watching a few minutes earlier. I know me and you were both watching people playing volleyball down at Mercer University. Hopefully, it looks like they're heading inside, so that's certainly some good news, and we'll switch that over to Macon as we speak. So definitely got to be inside when thunder roars, head indoors. That's what we always tell people, because if you can hear thunder, you can be struck by lightning. Again, it looks like a wall of heavy rainfall. This is the hospital downtown, and we're going to keep watching this. And again, Macon, it's currently 90 degrees. That's heat, that's humidity, that is fuel for these showers and storms. Quick update on the watch, no changes to it the last couple of minutes. Again, fully expecting this to be extended off towards the south, but even if you're not included in the watch, doesn't mean you can't have severe weather. A watch a lot of times means conditions are favorable in and near the watch area. So just remember that. But as soon as this line of storms pushes through your area, the watch is being canceled. So that is certainly some great news. But again, northern Bibb County, central Crawford County, and now over into Jones as well as Baldwin County. This is where some of the strongest storm activity is, and really looks like the lightning output is increasing from Roberta over towards Lizella, Bolingbroke. That's where we're dealing with. Again, Bass Road drops south. The shops at Riverside, that's where we're dealing with some of this heaviest rainfall. Now approaching, I would say, Mercer University, downtown Macon. So I'll go back to the Mercer camera real quick. Ryan, if you can just switch that over for us, and we'll see what we can see real quick
Yeah.
over at Mercer University. Again, this is looking downtown. We switch over to the Mercer camera. Rain should be starting to fall as we look. There it is. You see that white, that's torrential rainfall, and that looks pretty ominous as we look. Notice our camera is shaking. You're seeing a lot of gusty winds, and you see the trees are moving as well. But what this is heavy rainfall, likely some hail mixing in. That's going to be heading right towards Mercer University, and that's what's heading towards downtown Macon. So if you're downtown at one of the restaurants, you need to be heading indoors. And again, severe thunderstorm warnings, a lot of people don't take these as seriously as tornado warnings, but you have to. Tremendous amounts of rainfall. Now there's Five Star Stadium, ominous sky. This is looking back towards the south and east now, down towards downtown Macon. But again, camera's shaking. That's very heavy rainfall, gusty winds moving into the city of Macon as we speak. That's going to be downtown. This will likely be producing some tree and power issues. And again, we're panning back towards the west now as we look down towards there's the rain. It'll be coming in, and I imagine we're probably about to lose visibility on this camera because the rain's going to be so hard with these storms as we've been watching them move off towards the south and east. But again, camera's shaking, very heavy rainfall, and this is right there by Amici at Mercer University. So that gives you an idea right across from Five Star Stadium. Heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and again, this is moving into Macon as we speak. I'm going to look at social media real quick to see if anybody's asking questions. Sandra Harden, you're watching from Lawrence County. Well, northern Lawrence County, you're now under a severe thunderstorm warning, so make plans. It may not be storming in your area right now, but those storms are heading your way. Pate Road getting hit now. Thank you, Michael Dykes. That's certainly some good news. Bolingbroke area, bad lightning and wind gusts. That's, again, Michael Dykes. We appreciate that. Very heavy rainfall, continuing watching. Yeah, again, that's what we're just keeping an eye on things as these storms continue to push off towards, and they're not going to last long. It's 20, 30 minutes and the storm's going to be out of here. But again, it's just one of those days. We started tracking these storms. These had developed over Missouri last night, moved through the area. They were in Tennessee this morning and this afternoon. Again, we were talking about that ring of fire. We have to watch these clusters of rain and storms work their way south, and this is one of those clusters of rain and storms. And again, as of right now, it looks like one of the strongest storms is now pushing into Bibb County as we speak. And again, we say that because of all the lightning. So near Bolingbroke, back towards Roberta, Muzella, Lizella, that's along US 80, and that's moving into downtown Macon. Go to the downtown Macon camera real quick, Miranda, if you can, and we'll see what we're seeing downtown. We hear the thunder starting to happen here in downtown Macon. And again, starting to see rain falling. And again, we're looking off towards the north. Our station is at MLK Boulevard in the corner of Plum Street. So there's the hospital. This is looking off towards the north. You see the churches, and you see the very heavy rainfall making its way into downtown Macon as we speak. Camera's not shaking just yet, but I would give it just a couple of minutes, and we're probably going to see some wind gusts. And again, hopefully everybody that's been out to downtown enjoying some of the restaurants or local establishments have made their way inside. And you see the trees are starting to whip. So there's that very heavy rainfall making its way into downtown Macon. And again, severe thunderstorm warning does include all of Bibb County as well as the city of Macon. And that goes until approximately 7:15, I do believe, but we'll certainly see these be extended off towards the south over the next couple of hours. So again, heads up Peach County as well as Houston County, you're going to be in line for these storms. Twiggs County, you're already seeing a severe thunderstorm warning as these storms make their way into your neck of the woods. And again, you see the lightning flashes approaching downtown. Hopefully everyone is indoors as this line is strong to severe storms works its way through middle Georgia as we speak. Again, not much of a tornado threat. That is certainly some good news, but if a tree falls on your car or on your house, It doesn't matter if it was a damaging wind gust or a tornado, it's a bad night for you. And again, hearing the rain and wind here at our station, hitting the rooftop, just going to be a rough go over it the next few minutes. Ryan, be sure to chime in if you see anything that I am not seeing at any point. So.
Yeah, I wanted to maybe shift a little bit and talk about some of the power outages that are coming in. Right now, one of our graphics here, I don't know, I could pull it up for you, Ryan, if you don't know exactly where it is. I'm going to pull it up over here. Are you trying to work with
No, go ahead.
Okay.
You've got control.
I'm just going to pull this up really fast so we can show some of the power outages, and that's been pulling through. Right now, it's showing that we have about almost 24,000 outages in Georgia so far. Specific areas that are seeing outages in Jasper, Monroe, Lamar, Upson, and portions of Sly County are above that, maybe near 10% of the power outages being out. It says Lamar County is about 1,350 outages, Monroe County just about 1,200. And I'll pull up the exact numbers to see if I can get a few more, but notice that there's already some power outages that are being reported from these storms that are moving through. Those gusty winds are able to just kind of knock down the trees, potentially knock down the power lines.
And what is that new severe thunderstorm warning that just hit?
Was there just another one?
Yeah, they just updated that.
Yeah, okay, let me look really fast. It says severe thunderstorm warning. That's our phone. So if you don't have if you don't have the WGXA Skywatch weather app, that's what it does. It tells you when there's a warning over you. It's really a great tool. Make sure to download it on the App Store. So they continue the severe thunderstorm warning for Bibb, Crawford, now into Houston County, Macon County, we have Marion County, Muskogee, and then Peach, Sly, Taylor, and Twiggs counties, all until 8 o'clock. So they're continuing to push that south for that line of strong to severe thunderstorms, moving southeast at 30 miles per hour with those potentially damaging winds. But now it's moving now into Houston County and Peach County, Macon County. But still, these are packing some strong winds and some gusty downpours. But it is causing some power outages, as you just saw there, on some of that, and those could continue to climb up. But these are dropping a ton of rain in a short amount of time. This is what it looks like over Macon right now. The dew point, I just looked at the dew points. There was a dew point being recorded in, I think, Peach County or Fort Valley at 80 degrees. So that's just a very high moisture content that's in the air, and all these storms are just wringing out some of that moisture that's out there and really can cause some localized flash flooding. So that's also going to be an issue with some of these heavier downpours that can be pushing through.
All right, so that's the storms rolling into downtown Macon as we speak. And again, that new severe thunderstorm warning now including much of the areas to the south of us. And what it is, this is a line of storms. The National Weather Service is just issuing these large polygons now. We have one large polygon from Muskogee County, that's where Columbus is, stretching all the way over towards Sly County as well as Taylor County, Macon County, Houston County, Peach County. You're now included in this warning. Then we have another large polygon warning stretching from Twiggs, Wilkinson, Washington County, Northern Lawrence County, and Johnson County as this part of this line of storms works off towards the south and east. And again, winds of 60 miles per hour or greater are the main threat. Tremendous amounts of lightning with this storm coming through Bibb County as we speak. And again, we're going to be watching it. It's moving off towards the south at about 35 miles per hour. So giving you a heads up, Butler, not storming in your location yet, but that's coming your direction. Montezuma, you're up next. Here's, say, Pottersville, Reynolds, Fort Valley. These storms are going to be dropping off towards the south. Again, not storming right now in portions of Houston County, but Warner Robins, Bonaire, Perry, this is dropping towards your south. There's Byron. Rain moving into your area now. The strongest part of the storm stretching from Macon towards Lizella, right along US 80 down towards Roberta across Crawford County. Then you get over towards the north, heading up towards Jones County as well as Baldwin County. Now getting into northern Wilkinson County, you got Ivy, you got Gordon, lightning starting to show up in Wilkinson County, and then you get over into Washington County, Sandersville, Worthen. Storms don't look as intense, but don't let your guard down. Heavy rainfall, gusty winds with these storms as they drop off towards the south. But it really looks like the core and the most intense thunderstorms are going to be stretching from Jones County, Bibb County down into Crawford County, and that's where we're seeing a lot of people live in this area. So along the Gray Highway, Highway 129, you got Interstate 475, Interstate 75, and Interstate 16. Not pleasant outside right now as we're dealing with these very intense thunderstorms, and they are severe. Again, severe thunderstorm warnings means these storms could be producing hail up to 1 inch in size. That's the size of a quarter, or winds of 60 miles per hour or greater. And again, these will be dropping off towards the south. So is that the watch being extended off towards the south?
Yeah, these are the watches that are now being extended and canceled for the areas behind
All
it,
right,
but continuing it to the south.
We'll pull that up real quick. And again, all of middle Georgia now that it does extend. And we figured this would happen. But again, notice they have trimmed the counties away in our northern portions of the area. So essentially the severe weather threat is over for, you get into Hancock County, Putnam County, Jasper County, Butts County, Monroe, Lamar, and Upson County. The severe storms are now just south of you. So we see the warning and watches being extended off towards the south. So now Lawrence County, Bleckley, Cordele, Crisp County, as well as Dooley, Dodge, Pulaski. You get down into Wilkinson County, Wheeler, Montgomery County, and then over into Treutlen County. You are now under this severe thunderstorm watch as this line of strong to severe storms will continue to march off towards the south and east. So we're watching it very carefully as we continue to see this line of strong to severe storms working its way through much of Georgia. And again, this is going to be the main issue over the next couple of hours. Tremendous amounts of lightning. And again, I'm going to pull up the Macon camera real quick just to see what it looks like outside. Again, this is the hospital. We're looking north. Our station is on MLK Boulevard, which is US 80. We're at the corner of Plum Street as well. So we're looking off towards the north as these storms move right into downtown Macon. I will kind of point out something. This is the trees outside Fall Line Brewery. So that gives you a general idea where that is, just a couple of blocks north of us. And again, nice bolt of lightning just north of the hospital showing up. So a lot of wind, a lot of rain, a lot of thunder. We're hearing the thunder here at our station in downtown, and that cloud to ground lightning. And again, big heat, big storms. Lightning in the summertime tends to be more intense because there's more instability. And that's a lot of times why we get a lot of house fires with these storms rolling through. Again, looking at the radar once again, heads up if you're down into Houston County, Dublin, Wrightsville. These storms are marching their way south in your direction, as well as Montezuma. Butler, you're about to get in on the action as well. So again, tremendous amounts of rainfall, gusty winds, and I will pull up the power outage graphic. Again, I've added that to my show, so that's certainly some good news. And again, numbers haven't changed, but these don't update, they do update automatically, but it's usually about every 5 or 10 minutes, Mirando?
I might need to update the timing on this.
Okay.
I think it does update every hour right now.
Okay.
So I think it updated at 7 o'clock, but probably want to make that for every 10 minutes or so, especially when we have some storms that roll through.
Okay, well, that'll be a project for us later.
Thank you.
So, no big deal. But again, you're looking off towards that thunder's really loud. You want to go outside for us?
I'll do a live report outside.
No. Everybody needs to be indoors because, again, lightning is the issue. And again, there's that the initial severe thunderstorm warning till 7:15 for northern Crawford and northern Bibb County has been allowed to expire. But now the main issue, and again, the heaviest winds are going to be right out ahead of this main line. So probably now approaching Butler, Warner Robins likely going to see those very strong gusty winds. Fort Valley, Byron, that's where we're going to be dealing with these storms. You stretch over into Twiggs County, heading down Interstate 16. You're getting down towards Jeffersonville, Irvington, McIntyre, over towards Oconee. That's where some of the strongest winds probably are, just out ahead of the main line. And then that line arrives at your location, and you get rocked and rolled by that very intense lightning, the window-shaking thunder for a lot of locations, and that very heavy rainfall. And again, isolated flash flooding is certainly a possibility. Tropical downpours with these storms is what we're looking at as they continue to push off towards the south. But again, all the counties from Washington County, southern Baldwin, southern Jones, much of central Bibb County. You get down into Crawford County, Peach County, Houston County, Macon, Taylor, Sly County. Then you get over in the northern Lawrence and Johnson County. The severe thunderstorm warnings continue. This is heading your way as you head down to McRae, Vandalia, Eastman, Cordell. You're now under that severe thunderstorm watch as these line of storms will continue to move off towards the south and east. Pull up the temperatures real quick just to show you how these rain-cooled air into the 70s, but south of this line of storms, temperatures are going to be in the 90s. That's that feel for those showers and storms. So that's why we're seeing the severe weather threat has subsided off towards the north. You're in the battle zone right now, say along Macon down towards Roberta and Butler. Cooler air to the north, hotter air to the south, thunderstorms. That's where the battle zone is what we like to call it over the next couple of hours. And again, I'll look at one of the forecast models just to give you a general idea, see if the timing continues to improve on it. And again, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, it looks like the storms will be pushing out of our southeastern counties by 11 o'clock tonight. The 11 o'clock news looks like we'll get a break in the activity. But still, this particular model is trying to redevelop thunderstorms after midnight into early tomorrow morning. And it could be a wet and stormy commute across portions of middle Georgia. We'll have to wait and see this. I'll update here in the next hour or so if this changes. The atmosphere really getting worked over right now with these storms coming through. That takes a lot of that energy, kind of zaps the atmosphere, takes a lot of what these showers and storms need to develop. So hopefully that will be the case and we won't see redevelopment tonight. But again, you never know. And then level 2 threat for excessive rainfall through the rest of this evening as these storms continue to push off towards the south. And again, this is where we can see those areas of isolated flash flooding. A level 1 threat extends into our southern counties. So it is all locations across middle Georgia could see pockets of isolated flash flooding. Again, I'll review the severe thunderstorm watch, mainly from Macon, Bibb County, down towards the south now. That's where we're going to be watching these storms. So Vienna, Americus, down towards Cordell, Abbeville, you get over towards McRae and Mount Vernon, Soperton, off towards the north, Monticello, Eatonton, Sparta. It's still raining at your location, but the severe weather threat is over, and
Ryan,
you're just going to be dealing with those heavier downpours. Go ahead.
Let me butt in really fast. The National Weather Service particularly highlighted this area. They said there was a localized area of 70 miles per hour winds that was just east of Macon near the Bibb County Twiggs line. They posted that at 7:17. I don't know if you're able to go back on the radar a few minutes ago and look at the winds, see if we could find that ourselves. It was just east of Macon near the Bibb and Twiggs County line. They said there was a pocket of winds potentially being up to 70 miles per hour depicted on the radar. I think that would be something cool to kind of look at, but
I think that's going to be it
right there. That's what they were talking about, that kind of cluster of the really strong winds that could have been up to 70 miles per hour near a dry branch.
So 76 miles per hour is what the radar is indicating.
Right.
So that's where they're talking about, and that's likely where we're going to see some of that extreme localized tree and power issues, again, just north of Dry Branch. This will be heading over towards Gordon, essentially. So we'll kind of put this into, kind of loop it a little bit just to give us a general idea. Maybe it shows you, shows it drifting off down towards the south. So again, that's where some of the heaviest winds would be. If that holds together, that'll be heading down towards, okay, there's Fitzpatrick, there's Myrick's Mill. You get a little radar issues. This is Jeffersonville. This is where the weather is, the weather radar is. So this is going to be heading south. Really along US 80. So Fitzpatrick, need to be in your safe place. And safe place, we always say small interior room away from windows and away from doors. And again, this isn't a tornado threat, but winds of 70 miles per hour, that can do just as much damage as a tornado. So do keep that in mind. We'll check it again, see what the winds, still, there it is, 70 miles per hour. So that's what the Weather Service was talking about. That's going to be some of the higher wind gusts we see. Again, working through Twiggs County now, that has just moved out of Macon County, or excuse me, out of Bibb County. So again, heavy rainfall dropping off towards the south, intense lightning, really from Jones County, Baldwin County, Twiggs County now, Bibb County, Crawford County, and heading down into Taylor County. Again, heads up Peach County, Macon County, northern Houston County, right around Warner Robins, the Air Force Base. Everybody needs to be planning for these storms rolling through. Then you get over to Jeffersonville and Danville. And again, this is going to be Interstate 16. You get Interstate 75. There's Highway 129, which really connects Warner Robins down towards Bon Air. And again, this is likely where we're seeing some of those stronger winds along that leading edge. And then you get back into the really intense lightning and very heavy rainfall. And Miranda, I'm going to get you to come over here to the wall.
Oh, okay.
For a few minutes. I need to change the battery on my microphone.
So
yeah, it's starting to, it was getting low, so I just want to make sure we continue to cover this. So you're in charge. Lead us away. I have complete faith in you.
Thank you. You definitely should. Okay, so as we're kind of looking with these storms to be rolling through, if you're able to also get any pictures, especially after the storms have rolled through, if you look outside once the storms have passed, you notice any damage, take some pictures and use the chime in tab. That's really the best way. We could even show them on TV. You can also tag me on Facebook or on Twitter or even on our WGXA page. Really, we want to see your pictures, especially when those are rolling through, but wait until the storms have passed over so you're not under any kind of risk of being struck by lightning or kind of hurt from any of these damaging winds that are pushing through right now. So we still have this line that's pushing across from Washington County all the way down through Macon-Bibb County, especially over Macon-Bibb right now, and then pushing out over towards Taylor and eventually making its way into Macon County as well. So I really want to dive past some of the storms and look more at some of these winds that we've been going through. We were just talking a few minutes ago about this one specific area that was just near Dry Branch with a potentially wind gust up to about 70 miles per hour. So really what we're looking for on these Doppler winds is these show that wind structure of the storms. So when we have the green, that's the winds moving towards the radar site. So they're moving in this direction. Here's the radar site. They're moving in this direction. And when they're red, they're moving away. But notice a lot of the storms are going this way. But a specific area right here, that's producing some of the very strong damaging winds, but really everywhere seeing a pretty bright green. Even this area in portions of Taylor County. So here's Butler, Reynolds, here's 137, another bright green pocket potentially producing some strong damaging winds. If I see, this is winds gusting up to about 46 miles per hour. So that's still pretty strong. Again, this is what the radar is indicating. So this isn't necessarily what's happening, but these are definitely producing some of those strong wind gusts. Let's show a few more areas out there that do have some of these strong wind potentials. Even this one area near Byron got another bright green spot. This is again showing the winds up to about 45 miles per hour right near Byron. So really, if you're under the severe thunderstorm warnings right now, you do want to take them seriously. Try to stay away from the windows. If you have any damaging winds over you, the windows are the first to go, and you definitely don't want to be hit by any of that. Let's zoom back out, see if we have any more pockets of some of that stronger wind. Really that one area right over Dry Branch right here in Twiggs County. Old Gordon Road, Fitzpatrick, Myrick's Mill Road, Fountain Road, Hammock Road, all these areas right now potentially under some very, very strong, powerful, damaging winds with the storms that are rolling through, besides the heavy downpours and the frequent lightning strikes also. And these dew points are really very, very high. We have the atmosphere is moisture loaded right now. So if we have some training storms, not necessarily, this isn't just the only line that we're watching for. We could get some storms through the overnight hours and especially again throughout the day tomorrow. So if it rains heavily over multiple places and multiple hours in the same location, we could get some of that localized flash flooding that's able to drop a lot of rain in a short amount of time. I think we should maybe go back out and look at the camera with what's potentially going on. So this is still out over Macon right now. Definitely the gray skies. Doesn't look like to be raining as heavy as it was a few minutes ago. It still looks like it's pretty gray out there, very dreary with some of these storms. Rain cooled 74 degrees right now. And now the wind a few minutes ago was out of the south, southeast. Now it's out of the north. So the storms are pushing through. They're bringing in that strong gusty wind behind it. And that's hopefully filtering in less energy for the storms to be feeding off of through the overnight hours. Maybe we can try to switch this camera to the Dublin one to see if we can get, so this is looking out over Dublin. This is not Mercer University. This is out over Dublin right now. So you'll see some of the clouds there off in the distance. Not currently raining out over Dublin, and I don't think you're under a warning at this time. However, you could get that warning extended to you with the storms heading in your direction. But it's still in the 90s out in Dublin at this current moment. So again, what we got going on, we still have the severe thunderstorm watch that's in place for all the areas shaded here. What this means is the conditions are still favorable for the severe storms to be forming. It's not a guarantee that you'll get severe weather over you, but if the storms are firing up, they have those ingredients to produce those damaging winds, potentially some large hail. Tornadoes look to be a very low risk with this. It really looks to be that more of that wind threat, and this is in place until 9 o'clock. And hopefully after this line moves through, we won't have to worry about any severe weather for the rest of tonight, but the rain chances are going to continue through the day tomorrow also. So some of these models, I'll show you a specific model again, which could potentially be moving through. This is just one depiction. We have several models that we look at when we're trying to see what the atmosphere could potentially be doing. So this is more of guidance of something that could happen, not necessarily what's going to happen, to get us a general idea of what the atmosphere could be doing. So by around 8 o'clock, we still have the storms that are pushing through. 9 pushing down towards Dublin, Cochrane, Hawkinsville, Vienna, over towards Eastman, and then down moving into Telfair, Montgomery, Wheeler counties. And then really at 11 o'clock, just maybe still grazing some of our southeastern counties. It's out of here through the overnight hours. And this one particular model is showing that redevelopment potentially through the overnight hours. So a few rumbles of thunder potentially could wake you up in the middle of the night. And then still tomorrow morning, it still looks to be unsettled with some of the storms around. I don't think we'll have as much of a severe risk tomorrow, but we still do have that chance for some of the severe storms. So really staying weather aware for the rest of this night into tomorrow is the best option, and the best way to do that is by downloading the WGXA SKYWATCH weather app. It really is such a great thing. It doesn't overwhelm you. You put in your specific location on there, and it will say to you out loud when there's a watch or a warning over you, so you know exactly what to do and what you need in that situation with when the severe weather strikes, whether it's a tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning, anything. It tells you exactly where it is. You can watch the radars and you can watch the temperatures. So even if it's not going to be raining, maybe you need the highs or the lows, any kind of planning that you're wanting to do, that is definitely always the best option. And you can also send in your pictures with any of these things as well. I said a few minutes ago, if you see any of that damage for when the storms pass, we definitely want to see the pictures. So really kind of putting that all together, we still have the heavy rainfall and strong storms with those severe wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour. When this is all said and done tonight and into tomorrow, we could get about ½ inch to almost 3 inches of rain. Some areas could even see even more than 3 inches where you get that localized flash flooding. So that's still a potential risk as well with some of these storms that are pushing through. The longer that it's going to be going on and raining, it'll kind of shift from that wind threat to over more towards the flash flooding threat. Remember, never drive into flooded waters. Remember to turn around, don't drown. That's always the best option because it doesn't take a lot of water to kind of lose traction with the road. So looking out, this is still over Dublin right now, so not raining currently. Let's see if we can pull it up over Macon again. Let's check actually where the storms are. I will switch this over really fast to Macon really fast. Did you want to do the update with the check on the radar? Are you good for right now? All right. So right now with the radar that we've got going through, this will load, the computers are a bit slow. So we still have the severe thunderstorm warnings stretching from Washington County, Johnson, just north of Dublin. So you're not getting any of that rain yet, not in the severe thunderstorm warning quite yet, but especially through Twiggs, Wilkinson County. It looks like the storms are really beginning to fire up here, but still Bibb, Houston County, Warner Robins just about to get hit with some of these heavy rain downpours. Peach County starting to exit out of Roberta and Crawford counties, still over Taylor County, and then into Macon County as well. So Warner Robins, Perry, over towards Fort Valley, Peach County. You're really in the crosshairs of some of these strong storms. Jeffersonville, McIntyre, getting right on the edge of some of these stronger gusts at this moment. And notice here with this, getting a little bit of a gust front out right here from Warner Robins. So you've got some of the heavy winds that are starting to push through. Maybe some downpours now over, especially the Air Force Base, Warner Robins. But notice we're getting a few of those areas with those heavy downpours, specifically. So this one area, this is that one spot they were tracking that had that strong wind gusts, potentially up to 70 miles per hour. Still getting a pretty good signature of very heavy rainfall here on the reflectivity. Potentially, let's see if this is what the radar could be indicating for the hail. So it's producing, the radar is indicating that there could be a hail core with this just south of Dry Branch. Here's 16 and State Route 80, Jeffersonville. Could potentially have some of that hail core. If we kind of query this, it says that there could be about half-inch sized hail, maybe about penny-sized hail that could be falling with that pretty strong updraft that is pushing through into Twiggs County right now. But a lot of these warnings still in place till 7:45 for some, 8 o'clock for others, but really we still got this line that pushes through. After the line pushes through, the severe threat does go down pretty significantly once it stops raining over your location, but Fort Valley especially, and towards Marshallville. Byron now getting the heavy downpours. Here's 75. These are all headed right in this direction. So I think these storms are headed about 35 miles per hour or so from some of what the warnings were saying a bit earlier. So let's pull up the radar. Let's see if we can put a little bit of a tracker out on this. Say the storms are moving about 35 miles per hour. We will go ahead and track this out over the next hour to the south and east. So these are some of the times that you could expect some of these thunderstorms to be approaching your location. Dublin is at 8:15. Fort Valley really right on the brink. It's knocking at your door right now. 7:34, that's in 2 minutes. Marshallville at 7:42. Perry at 7:47. Wrightsville at 7:56. Elko 8:06. Unadilla at 8:12. Dublin again at 8:15. Pinehurst at 8:18. Cadwell at 8:24. Eastman at 8:28. And Vienna at 8:31. So this is just some general rough estimates when these storms will be over your location. And there goes a new warning that they just set out. So we can check that out really fast. I think, oh yeah, they didn't extend it, or they might have extended it further in this direction. Doesn't look like, yeah, they changed it too much further south. But still, the warnings are really out there with that frequent lightning, the damaging winds. Hopefully this isn't causing too many down trees, anything that would really harm anyone. Hopefully everyone's inside taking these warnings seriously for those damaging winds that we really don't want them to hurt anyone. That's really the worst case scenario. So when the warnings are definitely issued over you, that's when you want to shelter in place, get away from the windows and take them seriously. When you hear that rumble of thunder, go indoors. Even through this whole entire summer, if you're out at the pool, you hear that rumble of thunder, you definitely want to get inside right away. So there is some of that. We can maybe check to see if any of the, do you think any of the storm reports would come in over the radar right now? I think we have to wait a few more hours for that, right, Ryan?
Usually once the Weather Service reports it, they'll start showing up in, so especially that stuff you were talking about earlier in Lamarck. See, there's Noonan, and that's the stuff earlier. So it may be each hour.
Yeah, so we already have some of these storm reports that is associated with these storms that were moving through, especially through Alabama, but near Atlanta for downed trees, mostly going through some wind damage, but most of it is that downed trees. There even was some flooding here just north of Birmingham. So this definitely has a history of producing some of that damage from some of the winds and the strong storms that's coming through, in addition to those downpours and the heavy rain. I do not have my watch on me.
I've got it.
Okay.
That's a new severe thunderstorm warning, and that's going to be for, let me get the data feed. It's going to be for Bleckley, Lawrence, Twiggs, and Wilkinson counties.
Okay,
so that's a new severe thunderstorm warning.
And they also did put under a significant,
Yeah, so.
for it does have that pink background. So what this means is that it's a pretty substantial storm now. This is that one cell that we were watching that had that potentially 70-mile-per-hour winds.
And that, yes, 70-mile-per-hour winds,
Yeah,
that's
what
the
they're
main
saying.
concern.
So this is a particularly highlighted area. It's that different color because the winds are even higher. Most of these other severe thunderstorm warnings have winds gusting up to about 60 miles per hour. This specific one has winds of 70 miles per hour. So Jeffersonville, Danville, both of the big cities that are in this new severe thunderstorm warning, with a severe thunderstorm was located over Jeffersonville moving southeast at 30 miles per hour, 70-mile wind gusts, and penny-sized hail. Expect considerable tree damage. Damage is likely to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. So Jeffersonville, Danville, Montrose, Allentown, District Path, and Nicholsville, all in the path of the storm. You really do want to take this one especially seriously with that stronger wind threat that's pushing through. Let's see what some of the radar is indicating at this point. So notice when we get to the Doppler winds, that's really dissecting through the storm. It's not just the rain, it's now about the wind structure. And the green portions of this is the winds moving towards the radar site. We're literally over the radar site right now. So the green is moving towards and the red is moving away. So with the winds moving just like this, and they're switching now to the red because it's moving away from the radar site. So this is that specific polygon that has that high wind. That's portions of Jeffersonville, Montrose. See if I can zoom in a little bit further, get a little bit more cities on here. So here's District Path, 16's right here, here's 80. This is for that potentially producing up to about 70 miles per hour. Chapel's Mill is right here. You're not into that specific severe thunderstorm warning with the 70 mile per hour wind gust, but still in a severe thunderstorm warning, producing those strong winds. So Danville, Montrose, just south of 16, just north of Cary. Let's see if we can get anything on the radar to ping. So this is the latest scan did just come in. This is saying winds are gusting up to about 44 miles per hour. The radar is just estimating what the winds could be. This isn't exactly what's out there, but it's a pretty good estimate of what we could be seeing in terms of how strong these winds really can be. Let's see if we can check it right behind the radar site. About 20 miles per hour. This specific storm here has a history of producing even 70 mile per hour wind gusts. That's pretty considerable and can cause some damage rather easily, especially to any kind of downed trees. So any kind of severe thunderstorm warnings, you really want to take this one seriously. That's pushing through and still has some pretty frequent lightning out here. This is the reflectivity, so we're back to more of the rainfall. Jeffersonville towards District Path. It hasn't rained over Danville yet, but this is going to be headed your way with some of these heavy winds, potentially up to 70 miles per hour, and that's pretty considerable of what exactly is going through. So let's get a wider view of what's still happening at this point. We do have that severe thunderstorm watch, but now it's being cut off for some of our northern counties like Jasper, Putnam, Lamar counties. It's been cut off from the severe thunderstorm watch. That means the conditions are favorable for those severe storm sets. It's already pushed past you and it's really rained itself out, but areas to the south are still under that, and Macon and areas to the south are under that watch still with these storms that are barreling through. And the heaviest downpours still right now stretching across Sandersville, Wilkinson County, that one specific area, and portions of Twiggs, southern Wilkinson, just northern Bleckley County, and northwestern Lawrence County under that pretty significant thunderstorm warning, but then it's stretching across Macon-Bibb, northern Houston County, Peach County, and towards Taylor, and starting to enter into Macon County as well for all of these frequent lightning strikes. But that is what's really going on for right now. I will toss things back over to Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett, the true legend.
Oh, jeez. Easy now. No. You got two guys here. We got to do this, everything we can. We got to change our mics. We got to get some water. You got to grab a little grub if you can. Again, this is what we're dealing with. It is 7:40 on this Thursday evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett along with meteorologist Ryan Mirando as we continue this severe weather coverage across much of middle Georgia. And again, we knew yesterday and maybe the past couple of days, we're watching these clusters of thunderstorms right around that ridge of high pressure, that heat dome. And we thought we'd get some of these today and maybe some more tomorrow. So this may not be a one-day event for us in middle Georgia. But again, I'll just show you the risk area. Ignore this now because it's going to be invalid because we're talking about tornado watch, or not tornado watches, a severe thunderstorm watch. And again, good news is as soon as that line of storms passes the locations, Monroe, Lamar, you get into Upson County, over towards Butts, Jasper County, Putnam County, Hancock County, you're free and clear. We should get our next round of counties eliminated. That would include likely Bibb County, as well as Jones and Baldwin County. But again, as soon as that line pushes through, that's where we're watching. Again, we'll look at the power outage, and I think Mirando said he was going to be working on this. That's a project I'm going to put him on later tonight, is updating it a little bit more frequently. That's updated every hour. Again, looking at downtown Macon as we speak. That's not Mercer University, so working on that. But here's downtown Macon. Again, temperature has cooled off to 72 degrees. We were at 92 before these storms rolled through, so the temperature knocking, the rain knocking down these temperatures by 20 degrees. Now got that north wind at 13 versus that southwest wind, so that is certainly some great news. Again, quick check on the radar. This is what we're dealing with. Essentially 2 large severe thunderstorm warnings from really Washington County over towards Twiggs County. Now we do have the 1 severe thunderstorm warning within Twiggs County, Wilkinson County, portions of Lawrence County and Bleckley County, where you see that pink background. That is a considerable tag. That's what they're saying as far as the amount of damage being done by this storm, or the potential damage. Winds of 70 miles per hour. So this is heading right down Interstate 16, and it really looks like the core of the storm just north of Interstate 16. Now, Dublin, I'd be watching this storm particularly careful, because if it holds together, it's going to move right into your neck of the woods. Of course, we'll switch over to the Dublin's camera here in a few minutes and watch that storm approach. But we're going to do a radar tour and just give you a general idea of where the rain and storms currently are. Okay, get over towards Muskogee County. This is Columbus. This is Alabama. So you got 1 thunderstorm here. You get over into northern Sly County, north of Ellaville. Looks to be quiet. Looks like we've got a little break in the activity. Doesn't mean you can't have some gusty winds, but as far as the intense rainfall and lightning, looks like you could miss it in Sly County. But it is impacting portions of Taylor County from Butler, and now moving into northern Macon County, well north of Montezuma. But again, these storms dropping off towards the south, so Montezuma, you're going to get in on the action. There's Marshallville, Potterville, Reynolds, along State Highway 540. That's where we're going to be looking at some of this most intense rainfall, lightning activity as we speak, as well as those gusty winds. Going to continue into Peach County now. You're really under the gun around Fort Valley. That does include Fort Valley State, and then heading up towards Byron, and then down towards the south, just north of Perry. Probably getting some gusty winds, but Warner Robins and around the Air Force Base and Bonaire, that's where we're dealing with the most intense rainfall as we speak. And then the airport, that's where those temperatures are coming from. Temperature has fallen to 70, or 72. So the heaviest rainfall essentially between Macon and Warner Robins, right around Warner Robins Air Force Base. So do keep that in mind as we head through the next couple of hours. Then we get over into Twiggs County, and this is that area right around the Jeffersonville where they're particularly concerned about that damaging wind gust up to 70 miles per hour. And again, just remove that. So that is certainly some good news. I guess they're not too concerned with that. But again, you're still under severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 60 miles per hour. And again, that's going to be for Danville, Jeffersonville, and that's going to be through Twiggs County, getting up into Wilkinson County. Here's Irwington. You got McIntyre. Worst of the weather. It's still raining very heavily in Gordon, but now the worst of this thunderstorm now south and east of Gordon. Now here's 441 and here's 540. This will take you over towards essentially the Coney River. Then you get over into Sandersville. There's Deep Step. Storming, but it's not a particularly concerning storm. So what is that new severe thunderstorm warning, Miranda?
Yes, they now have just issued that one further south as that line continues to push through. So this is a severe thunderstorms. We're located along a line extending 6 miles per hour west of Hebron towards near Potterville, moving southeast at 45 miles per hour. That includes Lawrence County, Wilkinson, Macon County, Dodge, Pulaski, Twiggs, northern Dooley, Bleckley, southeastern Peach County, and Houston County. And these are all into effect until 8:30. So they're really just extending that out for the line that's pushing through.
And that's kind of what we thought. As soon as the line approaches or gets closer, they're going to extend the warning out and cover multiple counties. So here is that new severe thunderstorm warning. Main concern would be winds of 60 miles per hour. Much of Lawrence County does include the city of Dublin now. Caldwell, and now you get into northern Dodge County, you get over into Bleckley County, northern Pulaski County, down towards Hawkinsville, then you get into northern Dooley County, Houston County, the rest of Houston County now included, and over into Macon County, including Montezuma. Again, along this leading edge, this is where those strongest winds are going to be. That's what we call the gust front. That's more than likely where you're going to see the most damaging winds within these line of storms. But also, there's winds back in the main area where this intense lightning, very heavy rainfall, and maybe some marble size to dime size hail would be occurring. So again, this is all heading towards the south and east. Not a great drive along Interstate 75 from Warner Robins down to Perry right now. The same can be said for Interstate 16. We'll be watching that very carefully. Again, Macon, as well as the city of Macon and Bibb County, it's just rain, a little bit of lightning. The severe weather threat, I'll give you the all clear. The severe weather threat has ended for Bibb County. Any county off towards the north, including Jones County, Baldwin County, you get into Monroe County. It's still raining. There's probably still some lightning and thunder, but again, the most intense activity continues to shift off towards the south and east the next couple of hours. So I'm going to actually pull up the Dublin camera here in a second, and we'll spin it around and see what we can see as we look off towards really the west. That's where that most intense thunderstorm was going to be. So
yeah, I think I have set up some of the camera that's moving through. I see you kind of shifting that off right now, but we could definitely see some of the storms that are rolling into the south. And while you're doing that, I do have some of the cities that are still in the path of this, a little bit of a timeline. Some of these storms could be impacting on a rough idea. 751 at Perry, 753 for Rupert, Cochrane at 801, Unadilla 807, Byronville 809, Hawkinsville 811, Cadwell at 814, 821 at Eastman, 833 for Cordele, 840 for Abbeville, 841 for McRae, and 846 for Araby, but that's about an hour away. But that's just some rough estimates of when you could get some of these strong storms over you.
all right, thanks, Miranda. And again, this is a live look from Dublin. Hadn't rained in Dublin yet. It's 86 degrees. We're looking off towards the west, and this is back towards the north. That's where that thunderstorm is. That's where we're going to be watching some for that lightning to work its way into our neck of the woods. And this downtown Dublin's essentially, we're kind of looking back towards the high school. That's the way we're looking if you're looking towards the west. Again, you see the kind of sun on our Wilson and Bryant Heating and Air Skycast Network. The actual sun's behind the sun right now. So that's going to be setting on the western horizon. So that lets you know that we are looking off towards the west because the sun always sets in the west. Severe thunderstorm watch. Again, we'll continue to watch these counties get cut out. I would imagine Crawford, Bibb County, Jones, as well as Baldwin County, you'll be removed from this next, including over to those counties, maybe Talbot County, just towards our west. Again, main concern continues to be this area of strong winds with these intense line of storms working south. Now, notice Washington County now cleared from that watch, but still, even in Johnson County, just because you don't have that storm approaching from the north, it's not as intense. Be mindful. We could certainly see this re-intensify over the next few minutes. So you get over into Johnson County, then you get down into Treutlen County, and then you start getting into Wheeler and Montgomery County, as well as Wilcox County, Telfair County, and southern portions of Dodge County. Cordele, Americus, Plains, you're in great shape right now, but all this activity is dropping off towards the south. And again, the main concern continues to be right in middle Georgia. For Macon County, across Peach and Houston County, southern Twiggs County, Wilkinson County. That looks to be where that most intense thunderstorm is. So I'll stop the radar and we'll get in a little closer, giving you an idea. Now, this is east of Jeffersonville. Here's 441. That cuts right through much of central Wilkinson County as you head down towards Dublin from Irwinton. You see Toomsboro, McIntyre. This is in the northern part of the county. That's where you're getting some heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning. And what I'll do is I'll pull up the winds again just to see if we see any of those more intense winds, again, within that line of storms. And as Miranda was saying, the colors are changing because you're now on the other side of the radar. Green is inbound, red is outbound. And they always told us to remember that by saying, like Visine gets the red out. red is outbound when it's working around the radar. So do keep that in mind. Very strong gusty winds across portions of Wilkinson County as we speak. Just looking 31 miles per hour, just radar estimates at certain levels. We'll back off, we'll look down in here, 44 miles per hour. And again, we'll keep an eye on this the next few minutes, these wind gusts. It's just a radar estimate, but a lot of times we're looking at different things within the cell, and that'll tell us, you know, if the cell maybe could be intensifying, producing some stronger winds. And again, the main wind area a lot of times is out along the main edge or the leading edge of this activity as it pushes off towards the south and east. Again, looking off towards the north. It's still raining in our northern communities, but the severe weather threat is over. Macon off towards the north. Severe weather threat is over for now. It's all south of the city of Macon, really Houston County under the gun right now, Twiggs County, Wilkinson County, and this is going to be heading over into really Lawrence County, but it looks like it's got a bit of an easterly trajectory, so maybe southern portions of Washington County, Johnson County, Wrightsville, you're going to get this storm, so go ahead and be prepared for that warning to likely be extended over into your county. Heavy rainfall being reported. Again, you see Soperton, you get down towards McRae and Telfair County. Nothing, it's still clear and free down that way. Now, check out the temperatures once again to see, hey, where has it rained? Can you find where the rain and thunderstorm line is? Currently 92 in Montezuma. You get north of the rain and thunderstorm activity, 74 in Butler. 73 in Irvington, while it's still 86 in Dublin. 74 in Sandersville, 84 in Wrightsville, and we still got some lower 90s down across, say, Vienna as well as Cordele. But again, as soon as that rain and thunderstorm activity pushes through your area, it's coming. You're going to get a warning, and you're going to get some thunderstorms. That's going to be making its way your direction over the next few minutes. And again, it's heavy rainfall, lots of lightning with these storms, those very gusty winds as this line of storms continues to push off towards the south and east at about 30 miles per hour. Do note that along the line, you're not seeing as much intense lightning. So maybe the overall trend with these storms is weakening as a whole, but still you got a couple of these cells across middle Georgia that are more intense than the other ones. And this is really the only location we're seeing severe thunderstorm warnings right now. I know earlier they stretched back as far as Montgomery, and they did stretch up towards Augusta. So now it's really like it's consolidated into the cluster of 2 or 3 dominant thunderstorms, and these will continue to drop off towards the south, heading down again towards southern portions of Bleckley County. You got Pulaski County, northern Dodge County, and Dublin is this in Lawrence County as we speak. So watching that, and again, I will pull up the some of the high resolution. I don't like that one. Let's pull up another one. Maybe gives us a better idea of what we could see as we head through the overnight hours. So lots to look at. Always the weather data is constantly changing for us, so it's always something you want to see. But again, we'll look at this one, just give you a general idea. Rain and storms currently right now. Looks like we'll get a little break in the activity. Maybe more storms developing, but this will update, I think, closer to 9 o'clock, and we'll see. I really think the atmosphere has been worked over here this evening, so I'm not sure this will redevelop. And of course, the Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center, we'll share our thoughts with them as well, and they'll share their thoughts with us and let us know that what could occur as we head into the overnight hours. But again, big picture across much of the southeast, we continue to watch just rain and thunderstorms this time of evening across much of middle Georgia. And again, the main concern has been, I always like to say big heat, big storms. That's something I've learned years ago. That a lot of heat, a lot of humidity will produce heavy rainfall and strong storms. Severe wind gust over 60 miles per hour. We've been dealing with that. And potential rainfall, 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Certainly a welcome sight. A lot of people needing some rainfall. Some people don't want the rainfall, but you can't please everyone. And again, here's the big picture. This is cluster number 1. We're still going to be under this northwesterly flow the next 24 to 48 hours. So we'll be watching to see if maybe more storms develop later tonight. Tomorrow, more storms. look to be mainly confined to Alabama. They can have them. We've had our round this evening. And again, maybe some more storms tomorrow night across portions of middle Georgia. Saturday, we'll be watching. It all depends where the thunderstorms develop. Are they going to be north of this little jet stream, or are they going to be to the south of it, or are they going to be along it? And again, that'll determine what kind of rain and thunderstorm activity we'll have tomorrow as well as into the weekend. Now, we're going to have rain and storms each of the next several days. It's summertime in middle Georgia. Heat, humidity, that produces those thunderstorms, but you get a little bit of added instability, a little bit of added uplift with this activity as it rolls through, and that's what we're going to be dealing with. Heat could be an issue this weekend, looking at the heat index values. Maybe Saturday into Sunday, 105 danger range, so it's going to be scorching hot once again. It's going to be feeling even hotter. If this is the forecast, if this does continue to trend hot, we could certainly see heat advisories issued for this weekend as well. So again, you'll have storms, and then you'll have more heat advisories as a possibility this weekend, but the storms will be more active this weekend, so at least that should provide some heat relief in the form of those afternoon showers and storms. We'll go back to Dublin real quick to see as that storm's approaching. Again, ominous sky. This is what we call the shelf cloud. It's beginning to roll in. You see it's clear out ahead of it, but then you get this storm approaching from the north and west, really. And we'll turn it just a little bit, just give you an idea of what we're kind of looking at. Scanning the sky is what we like to do with these cameras across middle Georgia, and it gives you a good idea of what's going on. But looks pretty ominous as you look off towards the really northwest of Dublin right now. That's where we're seeing some of this activity. Then we look off towards the east, shows you really, this is to the north, I'm sorry, let me clarify that. Not raining, but there are a lot of wasps around our camera right there in middle Georgia, or down in Lawrence, so they're not too happy with these storms rolling through. I'll give you a general idea. Ominous sky. This is the Jefferson Street Baptist Church, so this is going to be Jefferson Street heading off towards the north. And again, you see the lightning starting to show up on our Dublin camera. No rain yet, but it's 86 degrees, so these storms will have a lot of energy to work with. So we'll stay with this for just a couple of minutes and just give you an idea, and we'll keep an eye on this as these storms continue to roll into the area. But our main concern, again, just because these storms do have a history of producing damage, we wanted to stick with it and stay with it until they get through a lot of the population area. And again, most intense storms really look to be across southern portions of Wilkinson County, now heading down into Dublin and much of Lawrence County, portions of Bleckley County, and then you got some stronger storms back into Houston County, Peach County, and now really getting into northern Macon County. That's where Montezuma is. Then intense thunderstorms, heavy rainfall, lots of lightning with these storms, and that continues to be a lot of issues. A lot of times in the summer, the lightning is just a little bit more intense. That's a lot of times we get these house fires that because of lightning strikes in the summer. So do keep that in mind. We'll check on social media, see if what everybody else is seeing. Trey Robinson just came through Washington County. Yes, it did. We got heavy rainfall, lots of areas being reported. I'm not seeing any reports of damage. That's always certainly some great news. I'd rather have an event like this and not have any reports of severe damage or any damage. A little bit of tree and power issues back into Lamar and Monroe County earlier, but we're continuing to monitor the NWS chat. They let us know, the EMA directors are included in that, and they're letting us know if there's any damage in their county. So pass that along to the newsroom. So always keeping an eye on the sky and keeping an eye on social media, letting us know what's going on. And again, if the storms have passed your location, you may have a tree down or you see some damage, you can always send us a picture or a video in on our Chime In. It's on the weather app as well as the news app and also the website. Just make sure it's safe if you're out and about. We don't want you putting yourself in harm's way if you are trying to get some pictures of the rain and storms. But again, Marshallville, over towards Perry now, Bonaire, Warner Robins, around Robins Air Force Base. That's where we're dealing with some of the heavy rainfall. That continues over towards Danville, now getting down towards Cary in northern Bleckley County. Jeffersonville, that's where the radar is. That's what you're seeing. currently. And then you get over into Wilkinson County along the Oconee River that kind of splits Wilkinson County into from Washington County, getting very heavy rainfall, those gusty winds and a lot of lightning. And then again, 441, that's the main drive through Wilkinson County as it heads down towards Dublin and getting close to Dudley as you get close to Interstate 16. We'll go back to the camera up in Dublin as that storm gets closer and closer. Again, ominous sky. This is a severe thunderstorm, so if you're in Dublin, you need to be getting into your safe place. We always just say that. Get inside, away from windows, away from doors, because these storms are producing winds of 60 miles per hour, and that can cause issues a lot of times. And I'll turn the camera just a little bit, just give us a vantage point of what we're seeing around the entire horizon. So again, storms, as weather people, we call them beautiful because it's a lot of storm structure, a lot of things we like to see. Now this is looking back towards the really north and east, not quite as ominous. Now you're getting kind of towards the east. It's back towards the north and west. This storm is approaching Dublin. And again, that's the Jefferson Street Church, Baptist Church you see right there. This is Jefferson Street heading off towards the north. You see people out and about. It looks like a lot of people, mainly in their cars. This hopefully stays that way. And again, we'll be watching this camera as these storms roll through, painting back to the west, looking off towards the west. And again, this is what we call the shelf cloud. This is what we look for when these storms are rolling through. You got the sun underneath the sky, and then you got this heavy rainfall and thunderstorm activity that's going to be making its way into Dublin here very shortly. And again, storms, thankfully, and I'll ask Miranda, are you seeing any damage reports over the last 20 or 30 minutes?
There actually have not been any damage reports that have come in, and there have been new wording from the National Weather Service for not a severe thunderstorm warning, but a special weather statement that has been out for Washington and Johnson counties. They're saying that there's a strong thunderstorm that was near Tucker's Cross Road or 10 miles west of Wrightsville, and it's moving east 45 miles per hour. This is not severe warned, but it still is producing some very gusty winds. They're showing 40 to 50 miles per hour with frequent cloud to ground lightning and heavy rain. So you still could be expecting minor damage to tree limbs blowing around. Anything that's unsecured could also be flying around with that heavy rain that could cause some flash flooding. Doesn't look like we're getting too much of any kind of flash flooding right now, but there could be some localized areas that are getting some of that flooding on the road. But that power outages are still beginning to add up.
Yeah, that just updated because we're at the top of the hour. And again, looks like Coweta County, which is outside of our viewing area, but Bibb County, just over 3,200 people or businesses or structures being reported without power. Upson County, 2,200. Statewide in Georgia, that's over 27,000. But again, you got Bibb County, and then really looks like over in the Twiggs County, some reports just now starting to come in. And we kind of expect that because that's where that most intense band of thunderstorm activity, those winds possibly of 70 miles per hour. So within the next hour, we'll see additionally maybe getting some reports from Twiggs County as well as Wilkinson County, likely Lawrence County, and then northern portions of Bleckley County. Hopefully not a lot of issues, but again, if you're without power and it's summertime, it's summer heat, it's not pleasant outside, but thankfully the rain-cool temperatures are sticking around this evening. And again, it looks like it's just one severe thunderstorm warning now, so that's certainly some good news. And again, that does stretch from Macon County, northern Dooley County, southern portions of Peach County, a lot of Houston County, and then you get over into southern Twiggs, southern Wilkinson County, much of Dublin County, you get Bleckley County, portions of Pulaski County, and northern Dodge County. That's where we're seeing this most intense part. Again, and over the last 20 minutes, I've noticed the amount of lightning continues to decrease with this storm. So maybe, just maybe, that storm is weakening, and we'll keep an eye on it over the next few minutes. Again, it's going to be heading towards Dublin real quick. We'll look back at the Dublin camera just to give you a general idea, see if it's starting to rain in Dublin yet. Well, you know it's windy, and you're starting to see that rain moving through. So that's that gust front moving through Dublin as we speak. and that's a lot of times where a lot of the most damage can be. And I'll spin it around just a little bit. A lot of times looking north gives us a good vantage point from Dublin as we look up Jefferson Street. But again, we'll be watching this the next few minutes. The camera's shaking. That lets you know that there are some very gusty winds. And again, rainfall starting to move into the area. You're starting to see that moisture hit our camera lens. But again, that's the Jefferson Street Baptist Church, just giving you a point of reference. The Toyota dealership will be across from it. And then again, that's looking up Jefferson Street. And again, this wind and rain, 86 degrees working into the area, and hopefully no one is outside at the restaurant right there on the rooftop bar, because they're going to get a rude awakening very shortly. So just continue to watch this, and we'll watch it for a few more minutes. Well, maybe till about 8:10 or so, and maybe we'll jump off of here. We'll leave the stream going as well, because we'll likely get some more warnings over the next few minutes. But as these storms continue to wind down, we'll assess, see if we can find any damage reports, get our crews on that, and hopefully there are no damage reports. But again, and just like that, what is that? The watch is canceled?
That's the watch, yeah. So they just canceled some of those watches. Also, since the 8 o'clock hour rolled up, the latest rainfall totals, they said that over 2 inches of rain fell in Gray. So that specific downpour that was in Jones County really was a heavy downpour. It had over 2 inches of rain. The next highest is in Sparta with just over an inch. So
all right, let's see how this is. I'll update in just a second. So the watch is being canceled. So we'll see some of these counties fall off of here in just a second, and that'll give us an idea. There you go. They just came off. So now in the clear, Taylor, Crawford, Bibb County, Jones, as well as Baldwin County have been cleared. It's all south of really the 75 and 16 split is where we're watching the most intense thunderstorms. And we'll pull up the rainfall just because Mirando's keeping me on my toes, letting me know. But yeah, check it out. 2.03 inches in Gray, maybe some areas of isolated flash flooding. Sparta over an inch. Eatonton almost approaching an inch. Macon only over a quarter of an inch. It's still raining in Macon, so I think next hour it'll be a little bit higher. Some locations down towards the south, no rain yet, but it's coming your way, so don't worry. But again, Gray, you are the big winner right now with over 2 inches of rain since that storm moved through, and that's within the last hour, essentially. So that is certainly some good news, a welcome sight. It knocked those temperatures down. Check it out, temperature down to 73 in Gray, 72 in Macon, 71 in Warner Robins right now, but you head down into Cochran, 87, 89 in Cordele, as well as Vienna. Montezuma, 92, but I imagine that is dropping like a rock as we speak because you're under that gun for those thunderstorms right now. So what we get while we hop off of here for a minute, we're going to look over at Dublin one more time as that storm is rolling through. And again, hopefully this is going to be it as far as the amount of severe weather we have for tonight. I really think this is it. I think this line of storms really kind of zapping the energy out of the atmosphere, but you see that lightning flashing. We should get very torrential rainfall in Dublin here very shortly. Wind currently at 6 miles per hour. So just looking at that, again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett, in-house with Meteorologist Ryan Miranda. We continue to watch these rain and storms, and what we'll do, like we always do, we're going to jump off of here where you can't hear us for a few minutes, but we'll leave the radar up, we'll leave the stream up, and we'll hop back on with an update maybe at the bottom of the hour. It's 8:10. We'll put up what time, but again, we'll zoom in to some of these areas that are still dealing with the heaviest rainfall and heaviest thunderstorm activity. And again, it looks like the lightning output is decreasing. You're not seeing as many bright reds and pinks as we were earlier. So hopefully these storms are weakening as they push off towards the south and east. That's what we want. We don't want anybody having any issues. So again, we'll hop off of here for a few minutes, maybe hop back on at 8:45 or if another warning is issued. But I will go ahead and say you're probably going to have warnings for Treutlen County. You get down into Montgomery, Wheeler, Wilkinson County, Southern Dodge County, the rest of Lawrence County, maybe over into Wilcox County, just be prepared for that. We'll likely see additional warnings issued down that way. But again, we'll hop off of here for a few minutes, catch a little breather real quick. And again, I'm a meteorologist, Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett. We won't be back at 9:45. What time you want to come back, Mirando?
We could do 8:30, as you said, the bottom of the hour.
That work for you?
Cool.
Because I'm making you do it. So.
All right.
So we'll say 8:30 or unless another warning hits. So if I could type, we could have it all good. So, but again, we'll be looking at damage reports, seeing if there's anything to report. So that would be hopefully nothing to really report. That's always what we're aiming for, is making sure people are safe and just prepared when these storms come rolling through. But again, we'll be back at 8:30. Let me update that. And again, severe thunderstorm warnings will continue. These warnings go until, was that 8:30 or 8:45, Mirando?
They are in place till 8:30.
All right, so we'll see if new warnings get issued. If not, we will step off. But we're going to leave the stream up. If you're south of the area, you'll be able to continue to watch our coverage. And again, we'll be back at approximately 8:30.
All right, hello everyone. We are back. It is 8:30. We do have an updated severe thunderstorm warning polygon that we've got going on as these storms continue to roll through. The one that was previously in place has now been allowed to expire. We do have the one that is just left. And this is for portions of Dodge County, northern Montgomery and Wheeler counties, southern Lawrence County, portions of Truitland County, and areas in Johnson County, and then over here into Emmanuel County until 9:15. A lot of this has really begun to rain itself out. That is some great news, but still this one area is severe storm warned. That means it's still producing damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. So if you still live in these areas, you still want to stay in shelter away from the windows. So if you have any damage that comes on near you, the windows aren't going to break and hurt you. So really want to stay away from the windows right now, but definitely want to be inside. We still do have some rain that's out there, but only a few more lightning strikes, really just the heaviest downpours right now. Still, you can see this kind of bowing right now from just east of Dublin. Here's Soperton, Adrian, but seeing this kind of bowing with some of that heavy red on the radar. That's the heavy downpours, some rumbles of thunder, not as bad as it was earlier, but really, especially when we get this kind of bowing, it's literally like it's a bow and arrow. That's usually a sign that there is some pretty strong damaging winds still. So definitely don't let your guard down yet. This is some of the Doppler winds just diving deep past the rain. The radar is able to see some of the wind structure of the storm. The red is the winds moving away from the radar site, and especially some of these areas are up near that yellow. So let's see if we can see what the radar could be indicating these winds are up to. So this is just south of 16 right here. Here's Soperton. You could be potentially getting about 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts here down to those power lines, the trees, even towards Rents, Cadwell. Still getting some of those gusty winds up to about 39 miles per hour just south of Cadwell. So this is still part of that severe thunderstorm warning, and why you definitely still want to be sheltering in place for some of those strong storms to be that rolling on through. But now this is moving through Cadwell, Chester, Dexter, all getting these heavy downpours. Just about to move towards Eastman, but even Hawkinsville, Cochrane still getting some heavy downpours. Chauncey, you're in this severe thunderstorm warning. Soperton, Terrytown, Gillis Springs, all in the path of some of these strong storms. We still do have some heavier downpours out further west. Bleckley, Pulaski, northern Dooley County, Unadilla, getting that heavy downpour. A few rumbles of thunder. Nothing severe warned for you though. And we do have this one small cell also that's been tracking towards Sumter County near Ellaville with a little bit of some heavy downpours and some frequent lightning, but this is also not severe warned. Could be heading right here towards Americas over the next 20 minutes or so. But at this point, most of the severe storms are really beginning to quiet down. Still raining here in Macon and areas around it here at Sandersville. Still getting a few more downpours towards Dublin, Cochrane, but these are not severe warned over Warner Robins right now. But definitely still it's coming with some strong winds at this moment. Let's see if we can look out over Dublin still. It looks a lot darker over there right now. Let's turn on the camera so we can see what is going on. So this is out over Dublin right now. Still actually just saw that lightning strike in the distance. The roads are glistening. There's a lot of that water on the camera. A few cars are still out there, but getting that wind now out of the northwest, meaning those storms have begun to come through. 73 degrees though now, no longer into the 90s. That rain really cools you down, but still clearly seeing quite a bit of lightning. And let's see if we can pull up the Mercer camera to see what's going on over here. So things have really begun to clear out over Mercer though. Doesn't actually even look as dark over Mercer right now since we have more of these clear skies that are in place. Let's see if we can turn it around a little bit and get a little bit. We can look towards the south. See if we can see any of these dark storm clouds off in the distance. Definitely is looking darker the farther we turn this. So we still have some of those clouds that are out there. A bit harder to see, but you can see some of these clouds still billowing up here, even some of that rain that's on this camera lens also. But this hopefully will be the last batch of some of these heavier downpours that push through the overnight hours. We could get a little bit more of these heavy downpours, but hopefully that really won't be the case and that the atmosphere really used all of its energy. Still, some of the models are trying to show through the overnight hours. We get a few more storms that bubble up. Hopefully, things will remain quiet through the overnight hours, but there is that chance for a few more storms overnight. And tomorrow still looks to be a day with some on and off showers. Doesn't, though, look to be as active, especially in terms of the severe threat as today, but still going to be a good idea to stay weather aware. And we still do have about 30 minutes left of some of the severe thunderstorm watch in place. Remember the difference between a watch and a warning. A watch is when the conditions are favorable for those storms to be firing up, but those usually are in place for several hours. This was issued several hours ago, and this is when those conditions are favorable. You want to have a plan in case of the warning gets issued. That's when the actual conditions are occurring, they're imminent, the actual severe thunderstorms right over top of you. When you want to take action on that plan, really go inside, get away from the windows, try to be indoors to avoid some of those damaging winds at all possible. So really areas where it's rained over, Macon and up towards the north and west, you're out of that severe threat for the rest of tonight, but still all the areas shaded here, especially south and east of Dublin, could still see some more of those severe storms just with that warning that's still over top of you for right now. So let's look a little bit further and closer towards some of these heavier downpours that's pushing through. So we still have that one severe thunderstorm warning that's pushing through some of the eastern counties. We're getting some of that bowing effect, so that's usually a sign of some of those strong winds that's pushing through up to 60 miles per hour. So this is right now over Adrian, Gillis Springs, Soberton, Treutlen County, just about on the leading edge of this. Here's I-16, 221. This is going to bring those gusty winds, that heavy downpours. Most of the lightning is almost non-existent at this point. We still do have quite a few lightning strikes, so a few rumbles of thunder, but now this is definitely some strong winds that's pushing through right here, and why that severe thunderstorm warning is issued. It's still raining off towards the west, Dublin, Dexter, Rennes, Cadwell. Still getting some heavy downpours. Let's look a little bit further south in areas that are still inside of this warning. So this is right here is Lawrence County. Here's Dodge County, Eastman, Chauncey. Not raining right over you yet, but this is headed your way. You're right in the crosshairs of this. So here's Mount Vernon. McRae, you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but likely going to be clipped with some of this heavy rain. Are you seeing that, Stinnett, with the weather system? It's been glitching out on me. Then Mount Vernon also not in the warning right now. It's been kind of like bugging. It's not a huge issue, but it looks like it's like blinking on me. But it's okay for right now. It's still working out. And then over, this is not in a severe thunderstorm warning, but Bleckley County still over Cochrane. A lot of red on the radar. That's showing that heavy downpour with that reflectivity. Wallace, Hawkinsville, still a few rumbles of thunder and lightning strikes, and even towards Unadilla along 75. Seeing some more of the heavy downpours, but this is not severe warned at this point. Let's see if we can see any hail with this. Yeah, the storm at this point, the way that's really shaped, doesn't look like it's going to have a ton of hail associated with it. We're getting that bowing effect, so that's really all about that wind structure of exactly what's could be going on. So here's that wind, the winds again. So looking at it on a wider view, see, here's the radar site. So the green is the winds moving towards, and the red is moving away. So the storms are still heading in this direction. Those winds are moving away from the radar site. But when we get those bright reds, especially in towards that yellow color, that's really the indication that the radar is picking up some very high winds potentially, especially from the shape looking like this. That's a pretty strong indication of some of those stronger winds that are pushing through. So right over Soperton right now, the rain is really knocking on your doorstep. Those gusty, damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. Right now, this is showing about 50 mile per hour wind gusts just to the west of Soperton, down towards Cadwell. You're still under severe thunderstorm warning, having winds up to 30 miles per hour. And up towards Adrian, winds up to 30 miles per hour as well. And down towards Eastman, close to that 27 miles per hour. So still producing some pretty strong winds, even if you're outside of the severe thunderstorm warnings, but you're still getting a heavy downpour over you. There still could be some moderate to light damage. Those winds could still be up nearing that severe criteria, but not quite up to that. It still could be 50 or so miles per hour, and that can cause definitely still a few of the issues out there. So far, there's not been any massive storm reports that have been coming in, but still in some of these severe thunderstorm watches. So areas still in the severe thunderstorm watch. We still have Bleckley, Crisp, Dooley, Houston, Dodge, Lawrence, Montgomery, Peach, Pulaski, Telfair, Twiggs, Wheeler, Wilcox, and Wilkinson counties still in that severe thunderstorm warning, including Washington County, until 9 o'clock. So we still have about 20 more minutes of the watch being issued. So once these storms really push out of Middle Georgia, I think the severe threat for tonight will be very low. But we still could see some of the stronger winds that are pushing on through. Let's go back out to our camera, get you outside a little bit more interesting of what really could be going on. This is not out over the Dublin camera. I'm going to turn that one back on. Yeah, the camera definitely has a lot of water on the lens. This is still about looking over Dublin right now. A lot of that water, the roads are glistening. At this point, it doesn't look like it's raining too hard here, if at all, in downtown. Really, an easy way to tell if it's raining is looking out over the lights. Not really seeing too much indication of kind of anything shifting around, but still the lightning is close enough, so that still means that you do want to be particularly inside as the storms are pushing through, but definitely still got some of that glistening on the roads with the heavy downpours that pushes in. Some of the rainfall totals, the atmosphere is really moisture loaded right now. There was specifically a pretty heavy downpour in Jones County over Gray, and that's shown here. They got about 2 inches of rain pretty quickly, so that's a lot of rain. Sparta even got an inch of rain in the past hour or so. Byron got about half an inch. Macon only got about a quarter so far, but I think as we kind of top out here at 9 o'clock, that number will go up a little bit more, especially since we don't have any rain totals here in Perry. This updated at 8 o'clock, which is about 42 minutes ago. So these numbers are a bit outdated. We'll have to see how those update at 9 o'clock. So we still have that severe thunderstorm warning that's issued for some of the southeastern counties until 9:15. And some of these do have the history of doing quite a bit of damage. We still have some power outages. So far, we've got about 27,000 outages in Georgia. Some of these counties are not in our viewing area, but Bibb County here, over 3,000 outages right now. Anywhere really shaded in yellow, that's really a higher amount of some of the power outages. We have one here in Shrewtland County, but areas towards Twiggs, Bibb, Monroe, Lamar, Upson, Crawford, Taylor, Sly counties all have some sort of power outages right now from some of these strong storms that likely have been downing some trees, power lines, causing a few issues. There was one storm report earlier, I think it was in Lamar County, potentially, that there was a downed tree that downed a power line and that started a fire. So hopefully we won't have a lot of that tonight, or we won't see any of this, especially after the storms roll through. You know, the storms roll through, you see the damage that's left behind afterwards. Hopefully it's not enough. If you do, though, see any downed trees or any kind of storm damage, make sure to tag us on Facebook or Twitter once the storms are really pushed out of your area. Take a picture of them. Use the chime in tab on WGXA.tv. We'd love to see your pictures. We could show them off here on TV as well. So that's definitely always a great option, as we'd love to see some of your pictures in if you see any of them out on the roads or anywhere. But if you do see any flooded roads, you never really want to drive into those. It doesn't take a lot of water to lose the traction with this. So I'm checking some of the Facebook comments now. I haven't done this in a little bit. Hi, Sandra. Yeah, Northwest Lawrence County definitely got some of that rain. Hi, Audrey. Dublin's getting pounded. Yeah, the rain has been pretty crazy. And hi, Pamela. It's a lot better in northern Pulaski. Yay. Glad that it's looking a lot better from you. Yeah, if you have any questions, if you're on Facebook and you want to ask them, I'm always here to answer some of the questions or anything that you may have to say. We love the interaction and chatting with you all. Something that could be interesting to look at over here is if I'm able to change this camera back over to our Macon camera. So this is what it looks like right now over Macon. Things have really begun to quiet down. Not really any downpours out there right now. We still have still a light breeze out there, but within the past hour, I don't know if this has actually been updating because since we have 0 lightning strikes within the past hour, I think we've got a little bit more than that. I'm sure we've had some lightning strikes that have been coming through. Might be a little bugged there with what's going on. Oh, yeah, that hasn't updated since July 27th, so I think something there has gone wrong. So don't pay any attention to that, actually. However, we could maybe check out some of these wind gusts. These are something actually pretty important. These are some of the peak wind gusts that a few areas across the mid-state have had. Jeffersonville reported a wind gust of 45 miles per hour at their actual anemometer, their gauge for the wind, which is pretty substantial. Fort Valley up to 35 miles per hour. Byron and Gray, 29 miles per hour. Edenton, 27. Plains, 20. Dublin, 17. These also updated at 8 o'clock, so these could even up a little bit more, but a few areas still having pretty substantial wind gusts that push through, especially that one area in Jeffersonville. Maybe half hour, 45 minutes ago, we were talking about that area right over the radar site in Jeffersonville that had that potentially 70 mile per hour wind gust, that significant severe thunderstorm warning that was issued. So that's likely a byproduct of what some of those winds were and why they are reporting the highest there, up of 44 miles per hour, but it's definitely not reporting that 70 miles per hour, but could potentially have been producing some of that damage as well with some of these high winds that have definitely been pushing through. All right, so it is 8:47 right now on Thursday, August the 3rd. We still have the one severe thunderstorm warning that's out for portions of Dodge, Northern, Wheeler, and Montgomery counties, Trutland, and portions of Lawrence County out until 9:15. Notice especially with that bowing that's pushing through. It literally looks like a bow and arrow with the shape there. That's usually a sign of those strong straight line winds. Likely why that severe thunderstorm warning is there, for those strong, powerful, damaging wind gusts. But areas behind it, basically the severe threat is over. A lot of this lightning has really been dying. Notice at the beginning of this, there was a ton of lightning over Twiggs and portions of Wilkinson County, but notice as it pushed in towards the eastern direction, a lot of it has been falling apart. So that's really some good news, is that the storms are raining themselves out. They're losing that energy, and hopefully this will keep the storms dampening down so that they won't be firing up through the overnight hours. But still, we have that one out there that is producing some heavy downpours. Even have this one cluster of storms in Pulaski County still that has not been severe storm warned, but is producing some pretty good lightning and heavy downpours over Hawkinsville and Wallace right now along 341. Seeing that red on the radar. A few rumbles of thunder with that, but not under a warning. So that's some good news, is that there's no damaging winds, but this could still be blowing around some unsecured outdoor items. Maybe those trash bins are falling over from still some of those gusty winds that come out from these thunderstorms. And there still is that thunderstorm that's starting to move over Americus right now in Plains and Sumter County, Ellaville in Sly County, getting hit with some of these moderate downpours, but really over Americus. You still want to be heading inside if you've been eating outside or having any of those outdoor plans this Thursday evening. When you hear that rumble of thunder, that's when you're going to want to go indoors. If you can hear the rumble of thunder, you're close enough to get struck by lightning. So definitely even on a non-severe day. If you have any outdoor plans, you're in the pool and you hear that rumble of thunder, a great idea to head indoors right away. Let's show you what's happening on the big picture with satellite and radar. These storms, it's kind of a conveyor belt of moisture. They started out in towards Missouri yesterday, and it's trained its way all the way down through Tennessee and then into portions of Alabama and Georgia this morning and this afternoon. Hopefully at this point they'll really rain themselves out. Not going to have to worry about some severe weather, but it still will be active at times tomorrow. It's not going to be a washout necessarily of a day, but we will have some scattered thunderstorms on and off throughout our Friday for the end of our work week. This is what one of the models could potentially be looking like at around 8 o'clock. Some areas are damp tomorrow morning. It's not a washout, but a few storms could be bubbling up, especially for areas south of Macon. That has the greatest risk of some severe potential, or areas really in our very most southern counties could be clipping towards crisp and towards of Sumter and Dooley, Wilcox, maybe Telfair County as well. You have the greatest risk of seeing any severe potential, but that risk is relatively low. But can't entirely rule out a few more severe storms tomorrow. And then things begin to quiet out as we get towards Friday night. Still going to be a little damp out there, and heading into the weekend, it will still be unsettled at times. We'll have a few of those pop-up storms, a pretty normal summertime pattern, but that's going to potentially open the door for another hot weekend. Areas where it doesn't rain could potentially be up there into the triple digits with some of that heat, which it's been really the case over the past several weeks. We've either been in that extreme heat where we have the feels like temperatures well into the triple digits, or we're getting these big storms that fire on through. So it's really been kind of the which one do you want over the past several weeks, with either the big heats, or we get some of those stronger storms that fire up. So hopefully things will begin to quiet down over the next several weeks. So we're heading towards fall. I think actually today, did they? Okay. I think today is the last day that we have our high temperature of 94 degrees. Is that right, isn't it? Tomorrow we get our average high drops to 93. Do you know that? I don't know. I'm putting you on the spot, but I think today is the day when we begin to drop our high. Our average high right now is 94, but I think tomorrow or today, our average high begins to drop back down as we're saying hello to fall, which I'm definitely excited for that. So the severe thunderstorm warning has been trimmed off, now only in portions of Trutland, and that's really just Trutland, a little bit of Johnson County as well, but it's heading towards Emmanuel County, and this is still in place until 9:15. So really over Soperton right now, you're getting those high winds, the extremely heavy downpours, a few lightning strikes still out there, but really this is a pretty big wind threat at this point. Let's go back to some of those wind velocities. So the winds, again, the red color here showing the winds moving away from the radar site, and especially these bright reds and these yellows still showing pretty high winds. This is showing winds up to about 50 miles per hour right over Soperton. That could easily cause some damage down those trees, the power lines. So if you live in this area, you definitely want to be inside right now, away from any of the windows. So if there's any damaging winds that come near your house, if it breaks any windows, you definitely don't want to be near that. Right along 221, Gillis Springs, Soperton, almost all of Trutland County right now, under that severe thunderstorm warning with these pretty strong winds and heavy downpours too. I still don't think there would be much of a hail threat from this at this point. Yeah, the radar's not indicating any hail with this storm. It's really about the big winds that is pushing through right now. So let's get a little bit closer down onto street level so you can see a little bit more of what's going on. So here's Soperton. We got Blackville, Gillis Springs, here's 16. Barnhill not in the severe thunderstorm warning, but just to kind of get some bearings, 46, 15, 221, and 16. Here's all that, the roads with these heavy downpours, really that strong damaging wind threat right now. And this severe thunderstorm warning continues for the next about 23 minutes, a little bit longer than that almost. It goes until 9:15 or so. So we've got still a little bit over 15 minutes before this warning will be allowed to expire, but it's moving very quickly through this area. Still over Dublin though, getting some of the rain, but looking at the lightning at this point, we still do have a few of these downpours, a few rumbles of thunder left over in Dublin. We saw that a few minutes ago on the camera, just north or in Dodge County towards Cochrane, a few more rumbles of thunder, and especially towards Pulaski County in Hawkinsville, Eastman. A few more rumbles of thunder also seen here, but even some of these blinding rains with the heavy downpours that's moving through. Even over towards Americus and Montezuma, that one cell that I've been tracking the last 15 minutes or so, still pushing through, now really raining over Americus right now. And things should be beginning to quiet down. It's finally really begun to stop raining for some of our northern counties, and the severe threat at this point is basically none. The watch that we had issued here for several hours kind of expires here in 5 minutes or so when this warning begins to push out. I doubt we'll have an extension of the watch that's pushed through. We may see another warning or two possible if one of these storms really begins to bubble up. But I think at this point, that watch is likely going to be allowed to expire with this last kind of strong cell that pushes out of our viewing area with the strong damaging winds. And then we'll be left with a few of those showers through the overnight hours potentially tonight. But tomorrow, again, will be another active day that you want to stay weather aware, as we could see a little bit more flash flooding, especially if it's going to rain particularly hard over a certain area that got a lot of it today, like Gray. If you get another heavy downpour tomorrow, that could cause some flash flooding, or even a few more severe thunderstorms warnings are possible, especially areas in our southern communities and southern counties. So what you're going to want to do is just download that WGXA Skywatch weather app. It really is great. It's not very overwhelming. You can put in your specific location, and it literally tells you when there's a warning and a watch over you, so you don't even have to try to figure out and navigate the app. It does all the work for you, and you know exactly if there's a warning headed your way, and that you can kind of adjust accordingly if you have any plans, especially outside, but even inside as well, so that you can be in the right area of your home when severe weather does strike. And it does cover all severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings potentially if those ever get issued. Not going to worry about those for tonight though. We're still just worrying about some of these severe thunderstorms that are producing some of these damaging winds. Still over Soperton right now. Let's see if we can look back out over Dublin to see what is going on out there. There's a lot of water on the camera. We're not going to be able to see out. It's much cooler though, 73 degrees. I really want to go step outside. I feel like it might feel nice, but then it's going to be so humid, like being outside for about 2 minutes, because especially through the overnight hours with this rain now being soaked into the ground, it's going to feel very humid tomorrow morning, I bet, with all of this water that's kind of on the ground and beginning to evaporate up. I don't know if we'll really be able to see too much. It's kind of dark. We may be able to see a rumble or two, but I think at this point, it's a little hard to see. It's a little hard to see where I'm looking at too with all the water on the camera. Kind of hard to stay in focus. That's okay. But yeah, we still have the storms that are pushing kind of to the south and east of this area at this point, but much cooler, 73 degrees. Was that? I think that might have been a little rumble. Oh yeah, there we go. A little bit of lightning there off in the distance, so that's pretty cool. But still have a few of those strong storms that are out there at this point. Hey Marvin, how are you? Quieter here in West Macon. Yeah, things have begun to quiet down here in Macon and in the surrounding counties as well, with those storms kind of knocking their way out of here. They're continuing to push through. So things are really beginning to quiet down, which is some great news. Also for my back, after standing for so many hours and talking. But we still have about 15 minutes left in the storm. What I think we're going to do is, now that we're approaching 9 o'clock here, I'm going to leave the radar loop here for the next 15 minutes or so. We'll watch that severe thunderstorm warning. It's kind of beginning to push out now. Still, Truitland County, you're in the kind of the biggest threat right now with a severe storm. Portions of northern Montgomery County as well, and then no severe thunderstorm warnings for Wheeler, Telfair, southern Dodge, and Wilcox County. Just a pretty general but strong thunderstorm that's pushing through. So I think we'll give this a few minutes to see kind of how this develops over the next 15 minutes with these storms, and then we will come back with another update in just a few minutes. I think we'll come back at 9:15 for when that warning gets expired. We can do a little wrap up if nothing else gets issued, but we will kind of watch these as they continue to dive through. And we'll be back for a quick update in about 15 minutes at 9:15. All right, everyone, the last severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire, so we're going to go ahead and jump off here on the Facebook Live. Don't forget to download the WGXA Skywatch weather app so you can stay weather aware even throughout the day tomorrow with some more of this unsettled activity around. Otherwise, have a great rest of your Thursday night.